Yo, pod! This is Meat Mitch, and you're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it, and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike their match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. It is a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. We broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday Eve. Should you see fit to jump in on the show tonight, via email, via text message, via phone call, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, if you didn't know, the World Food Championships edition of 2019 is now in the books, albeit not the final table of 10, but they were derived, that being those 10, this past weekend in Dallas, Texas. And I have a lady that had quite the successful weekend on the barbecue side, also on the Firewoman's Challenge side, all things that we will get to in the course of our segment together. And that is from Team Chupacabra. I will be talking with Jackie Milligan, first time to the show. Then we will welcome back a longtime friend of show. When you look at jobs within this industry, and there are few full-time jobs, really, this guy is compensated for his time. He is a W-2 employee, so it's not just some contractor. This is a real live employee of somebody contributing to the live fire industry in a great way, somebody who's had a number of great write-ups here as of late, and well-earned, of course. And somebody who we all think that, boy, if we had his job, wouldn't that be great? I am, of course, talking about a guy whose nickname is the Keeper of the Flame over at AmazingRibs.com. Max Good rejoins the show. Looking forward to catching up with Max, and we have a specific cooker that we will be spending the lion's share of our time on. It is a Kamado-style cooker. And really, when you compare it to all the other Kamado cookers on the market, that's where the likenesses end. Kamado-style cooker. After that, throw it all out the window. It is of a different ilk. It is of a different material. It is of a different cost stratosphere. So let me just say this. If you have quite a substantial amount of money, and there's few of us. I mean, I make tens of thousands of dollars from the show. So this is something I could go out and buy 3 and 4 of, not even think twice about it. But if you are like me and you are just rich, then you're going to want to stay tuned for the 9:35 segment as I talk with Max Good about this particular cooker. Also, we will talk about the meetup that's still under reservations. Is that right? Taking reservations, not under taking reservations for 2020 next summer in Memphis. So we'll talk to Max about that. And then there's also a 3-in-1 Cuisinart grill, I think we might talk about, depending on if time allows or not. Remember, if Max gets a little long in the tooth, we blow the horn on Max, right? That's right. We do that. But we'll see. He's been really good the last couple times. I think because he knows that's in tow, just in case he starts to get a little long in the tooth. Then we will move to the second hour, and it is the fourth Tuesday of the month. And you know what that means? It means we are going to refire the embedded correspondence segment with the longest-running correspondent of the show, Doug Scheiding from Texas. Also, Steve Ray from Ooltewah, Tennessee. And then we also have David Huff from Oklahoma. And rounding out the panel of four and executive producer of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less, John Solberg from the state of Michigan. And we have a number of topics to ballyhoo about, not the least of which is the World Food Championships. Also, finally, we will get to reviewing Subway barbecue sandwiches that are authentically pit smoked. We will also talk about the long time out. We also talk about the item that has been out for much longer from Arby's, which is the Smokehouse Brisket Sandwich. And then we will compare and contrast and ultimately pick a winner for us and see if we, by picking our own individual winners, come to a quorum on who the overall winner might be, Subway or Arby's. I can tell you right now, mine will not be Arby's. It's a piece of shit sandwich, and I'm just going to leave it at that because we have all next hour to talk about it. So there you go, 216-220-0966, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. If you are not following me socially yet, please do it on the Instagram and Twitter at BBQ Central Show /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, which is where you can also get a live video feed here. Also, live video on YouTube Live. If you are so inclined, that also has a little bit more of an easier chat role for me to follow. So go ahead and jump over to YouTube if you want, or leave a comment on Facebook. I'll get to it after the show. Email from some dude named Tim in Pittsburgh. Being from Cleveland, emails coming from Pittsburgh. Immediately, I'm standoffish. Here we go. Greg, I was listening to the podcast this past weekend on a road trip with the family and heard Robin Lindar say that Diva Q wanted to fight her. Any idea what happened?
Get that big stuff out of here.
Thanks, Tim in the Berg. Well, Tim in the Berg, let me ask you this question, Tim. Do you not listen to the show? I feel like I'm talking with Steve from Tennessee. Robin did not.
Andrew, you are not the fight.
Robin did not. And I repeat, did not.
Andrew, you are not the fight.
Did not say the Diva Q wanted to fight her. Please go back and re-listen. When I asked her about how she viewed the relationships between her and other women in the live fire space, and was it more supportive or was it more divisive? She said more divisive. Then she willingly gave an example where she was at the same event that Danielle was at, and every person that was also working there besides those two was running it back to Robin that Danielle seemed to be shocked that Robin was there, not in a complimentary way. That's what happened. She never said that Diva wanted a piece of her. She never said she wanted a piece of Diva. I did mention that we might see a steel cage match in the future, very tongue-in-cheek, offhanded, off the cuff, to which she said, and I quote, "Well, we all know who would win that fight," close quote. So just to be clear, Robin did not.
Andrew, you are not the fight.
Right. Robin did not say the Diva wanted to fight her. Again, nor does Robin fancy a fist dance with Danielle. Nobody fighting anybody. That's not going to happen. And to be quite honest, I don't know what was going down at that specific event 3 or 4 years ago. But I don't think Danielle even thinks about other women in the space at this point. either from a friendly standpoint or from a confrontational standpoint. I don't think she thinks about any other women in the live fire space at this point in her career. Just my thought, my own take on that. But I don't think she's spending 1 second wasting her time about worrying or wondering or trying to surmise if any other woman in the live fire industry right now likes or dislikes her. Also, to jump on Robin's bandwagon, if Danielle and I got in a fight, I think we would all know who would win that fight. Not me. Okay, I'm not trying to cross Danielle ever. She's very firm to the guns, if you know what I mean. So I will always try to stay on the good side of Danielle. But again, I don't think she's thinking about anybody. Hard worker, grinding it out every day, teaching barbecue, grilling, like Robin is. So, as much as we all want to see the cage match, I don't really think that's going to happen. But, I never want to say never. But Tim, please go back and listen to the show last week and get your facts straight. Listen to the show. Not only be a fan of the show, listen to the show. Actively listen. Key component in being a good sales guy. Speaking of good sales guys and good humans, let me talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. They have great championship rubs and seasonings, popular flavors like Money and Sweet Money and Cattle Prod and Double Secret Steak Rub and Cash Cow and Little Lou's Seasoned Salt. The list goes on. 13, actually, perfectly balanced seasonings to transform your meals from ordinary into extraordinary. They also have a great partnership with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. Put those two together, and now you got the West Coast offense. All the teams are using it. All the teams are winning with it. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce, so if you want to try something out of the norm that's really good, try that. Aside from the rubs and sauces, they got great cookers for you to buy. Check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill if you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, and even offers special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? All right. Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer, and that's saying something. Not sure of what grill you need? Fine. Call 877-828-0727 and ask all and any questions. They will make sure that you get the cooker that you want that fits both your cooking level and your checkbook. 877-828-0727 or shop the website, bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. In fact, I owe Sterling a call, actually. We got to catch up. Try and get him on the business hours tomorrow. In the meantime, we will chase down Jackie Milligan as we get ready to talk a little World Food Championships and success. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, and a whole new line of products that he had talked about a week or two ago. All Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit, as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. What? All right. My first guest tonight, fresh off a great week in Dallas at the 2019 World Food Championships, where there was a lot of winning and a lot of high overall finishes. We go ahead and race to the hotline and welcome first-timer to the show, Jackie Milligan. Hey, Jackie.
Hi. Hello, Gurney. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me this evening. Very excited to have you for the first time. So before we talk about World Food Championships and I guess some barbecue competition stuff in general, just a little background about you, where you're home based out of, and if live fire is something you kind of grew up around.
Well, I actually live in a small town called Poteet, just outside San Antonio, with my husband, Tim, who also happens to be my teammate. And we have a 17-year-old son who also happens to be a competitive cook with us, too.
Wow. So we are, I mean, you're literally keeping it in the family when it comes to competition barbecue.
Yeah, it's a family sport. We've been doing this together for the past, with Team Chupacabra for the past 2 years. And we're just loving it. We travel all over Texas doing competitions, and we've proven ourselves to be a really good team.
Jackie, how do you guys first get introduced to competition barbecue? Is it just one of those things where because you're from Texas, it's just around, or does your husband introduce you to it and you just take a liking to it? It's got to be an interesting story.
No, actually, my husband started helping a fellow friend of his from work. They started their own team years ago, and I wasn't ever interested in being outside because it gets hot over here.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I would just roll in right around awards time for the ceremonies. And when my son was old enough to start competing, Tim said, let's enter him. So I would have to show up at competitions at an earlier time, and it was just really boring for me. So Tim actually encouraged me to start doing the dessert categories, which I did, and I won first place right off the bat.
Wow.
And so I built confidence and then entered chef's choice categories, and I'd take first places everywhere we went. And so I just set my fears aside to jump right into a full-blown IBCA 3-meat event. And I was just blown away because I got reserve grand champion on my very first IBCA event.
Well, it sounds like there's some real culinary chops that are behind you, whether you were fashioning them at home or you just kind of have that God-given gift. So are you guys competing as one singular team, or are the three of you guys going out as individuals and competing against each other?
It's really hard when we compete against each other because we get in each other's way when we're competing against each other. At first, it was just Tim on his own. And when the opportunity for me to be head cook for Team Chupacabra with Chupacabra Rubs, I took the lead, and he set aside his, I guess, cooking competitions to focus on me. Mm-hmm. And he became my teammate with helping me pick which cooks we were going to do and how our plan of attack was. And he even added an extra pit on our trailer. We have a pit maker pit, and he added the safe so it'd be easier for me to cook on, which I love it.
Jackie, do we want to answer the tough question that I'm going to ask of who's the better cook, Tim or you?
His brisket always outshines my brisket, but I think I have more GCs than he does.
Ooh, all right. Ownership right there. We call that scoreboard in Cleveland. That's where I come from. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about World Food Championships. I guess first let's just start from a high level. Are you a consistent event enterer at World Food Championships, or was this your first time down?
This is my second year. Last year we did the Alabama Orange Beach WFC, and we did really good. We did EAT and IBCA, and I did the Fire and Ice Women's Challenge.
How do you compare Orange Beach to Dallas? I mean, certainly two different places for any number of reasons, but did you seem to like one better than the other just from an aesthetics and an appearance standpoint?
Well, when we did Orange Beach, it felt like I was on my honeymoon because we had a condo on the beach and it was just, the weather was just beautiful. So I'm more partial to Orange Beach than Dallas. Dallas is definitely closer to us. But I really like the food. Seafood is one of my favorites, and I much prefer Alabama's Orange Beach to Reunion Tower. There's a lot of walking in Dallas, and over at Orange Beach, it was like you're walking on the beach when you get home.
We're talking with Jackie Milligan from Chupacabra, or Team Chupacabra, and we're getting into the World Food Championships that happened this past weekend and subsequent week before that. So now I had heard from a couple different barbecue competitors that the setup in Dallas seemed to be at a point where they felt like the barbecue teams were a little bit of an afterthought. And that's kind of a thing I've heard year after year, even when it rolled all the way back to Las Vegas. But as you were somebody that was there, did you have a similar mindset, or did you think they were pretty accommodating?
No, I didn't have any problems with them. They still need to work out a couple of kinks. But since it's their first year in Dallas, I guess they'll learn from the event and how things kind of should be handled. But I was happy there. Everything was held in the lawn area, and the barbecue teams were alongside the street area. So yeah, there's some things they need to work on, but being their first year, that's totally understandable.
It wouldn't deter you from going back to Dallas again next year?
I'm sorry?
It wouldn't deter you to go back to Dallas again next year?
No, it would not. I'd go back. I loved the eat category. That seems to be my favorite. And I did really well with eat barbecue. So I'm excited to do it again if given the opportunity.
All right, so let's talk about that. Let's get into the eat barbecue. So this year, and it seems to have evolved over the course of the years. There was a KCBS contest for a number of years, and that's all it was. And then it kind of evolved into a KCBS and an IBCA, and then the KCBS was dropped. I think this is the second or third year that there is now an IBCA and an eat portion, and eat is the methodology that they use to determine how they're judging stuff. So let's talk about that eat portion first. What does it involve, and what do you turn in? And I was supposed to ask you specifically to make sure that you tell us the names of your dishes, because evidently they're pretty creative.
Oh yes, Michael McDreamy is what we call him. He says hi. He told me to tell you to say hi. And yes, I love the eat portion. Eat execution, appearance, and taste. And all of my dishes, the appearance was spot on. For our rib category, we scored a perfect 100, wow. And we were so proud of it. I wish I had more pictures, but time just slipped by, and we were just so busy, and even though we had the time, it just slipped us, and we didn't get as many pictures as we wish we could have.
So is this a rib that you would turn in at a traditional IBCA or some other kind of barbecue competition rib, or is it a different rib altogether?
No, it's the same. Our same recipes that we do for IBCA is what we turned in. Nothing was any different. We used the same seasonings, injections, rubs. But that rib for eat, it was spot on, and I knew it. I felt it. You just know when you have a winning rib. Everything was great, and I actually had help from another team that friends of ours that were not doing the eat portion of it. Lisa and Fong Wong, they came and they made their special coleslaw, which is amazing, and I believe that blew that dish out of the park.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, it was that good.
So you guys actually win the eat portion of the barbecue contest, correct?
We did. We won first overall in the eat portion, and for IBCA we placed third overall, which was outstanding. It was like a dream come true.
So are they taking a certain number from eat and a certain number from IBCA in order to make an overall top 10? Is it 5 from each?
They took the top 5 from eat, and they took the top 5 from IBCA. And since I already had my, I guess, qualifying, since I reached top 5 for the first at eat, that they bumped up 6th place from IBCA to fill in to make top 10 to the overall grand finale.
And then in the top 10, they resort back to just the eat judging methodology.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and they had their. We had to cook bison, so I practiced bison, but then last minute they changed it to 3 different types of steak, which kind of threw me for a loop because I had a plan. I knew what I was going to do. I had all my ingredients, and so last minute, all we did is we're going to just stick to our plan and just swap out the meat for the steak portion of it. And so for the grand finale, we did San Antonio street tacos, and we decorate our platter with a Mexican heritage of Dia de los Muertos, which means Day of the Dead. So we were dedicating our turn-ins to those loved ones and families that have passed away, which is coming up November 1st.
Really?
Yeah. So our dish had a theme to it. It really meant something. It was really dear to our heart, and we loved the way it looked. I just wish I would have taken more pictures.
Next time you got to hire a photographer to follow you guys around all day, so that way you don't even have to worry about taking pictures, right? Wow.
I guess so. I guess we do.
So was the switching out of the proteins tantamount to some kind of a TV type thing where it's like, oh, now you got to cook something with this, where they're telling you it's one thing, but then they switch out another? Or did they not have enough bison and they decided to make do with steak?
I wasn't real clear why they had to switch it out, but I guess they didn't feel confident with the amount of bison they were going to be given to the cookers, so they went with I would think, a better selection of meats, because bison is so hard to cook, and we were going to grind it up and mix it with bacon grease, so that was really good, but it is a much denser meat, much harder to cook.
Now, if I'm being critical, steak isn't really barbecue, right?
No, but we turned it into barbecue.
From a barbecue standpoint, you win the eat, your you win the eat, your top 3 in IBCA. So either way, you were going to qualify for the top 10. You finish 8th overall in the top 10. By the way, if you look at the top 10, there's a vast amount of highly ranked barbecue competition teams that are out there right now. So 8th overall is certainly tremendous. Were you disappointed at all with the final result, or are you pretty good with it?
No, we loved what we turned in. I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Let's talk quickly about the Firewoman Challenge, which is a little different than the Fire and Ice had been in years past. So little background about what that entailed, and obviously another good competition for you.
Yeah, that was amazing. I felt so comfortable doing it. I felt like I was cooking amongst friends. It was great. To me, I think that was the easiest comp I did out of the Eat and the finale and IBCA. I was most comfortable and relaxed in the grilling challenge.
So were you, what were you cooking? Because from what I understand, you guys were allowed to bring a dish that you guys had practiced and turn that in, almost like a signature type dish.
Yes, and that's what I turned in. I turned in my signature dish. I called it Texas Date Night, and it was a beef tenderloin and stuffed bacon wrapped shrimp. I stuffed it with cream cheese, crushed pineapple, and pickled jalapenos. And I had a mango barbecue sauce on it. It was really, really good. Alongside with tricolored potatoes, onions, and carrots. And I did it all on the Bull Grill, which is an amazing grill. I wish I had one at home. I love cooking on that thing.
So it's you and is it 4 other ladies?
It was actually 3 other ladies. The 5th lady, Tina Cannon, great friend of mine, she was not able to make it last minute, and so I was really looking forward to competing against her again. It was her, Heather Sinyard, Robin was there. She did great, and Christina Fitzgerald, I believe her name is. Right. She was there, and they're all amazing women. All amazing women.
So if the folks don't know, you come out on top. You win this, right?
I won it. Yes, I was so happy the way everything turned out. Didn't realize I had to get up on stage and give a short, I guess, talk to the crowd. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but I pushed through it. And I had fun with it. I loved it. It was great.
And it sounds like it was a very successful 2019 World Food Championships for Team Chupacabra. Where are you guys going to be competing at next, either as a group or perhaps 3 individuals?
As a group, we'll be in Waxahachie for the IBCA showdown coming up in 2 weeks, I believe. Up near Dallas again, so it's about 4.5 hours from our home.
And then do you guys have plans to be competing individually or not for the foreseeable future?
So far, we like what we're doing right now. It seems to work well for us. We do at least 2 comps a month, and that keeps us pretty busy.
All right. Well, it's Jackie Milligan from Team Chupacabra. She won the Firewoman challenge. She won the eat portion of the barbecue competition, 3rd overall in the IBCA, 8th overall when it was all said and done. Jackie, great first showing. Really appreciate the recap of the weekend. Continued success.
Thank you so much, Greg. Really appreciate the time.
You got it. There she is. Jackie Milligan from Team Chupacabra, and talking about what was a extremely successful week. Won the eat portion, folks. Won it. Perfect 100 on the rib. 3rd overall IBCA. Did anybody take a look at the teams IBCA, by the way? Did anybody take a look at the top 10? Holy moly. Those were some pretty badass folks, let me tell you that. So Jackie did very well and winning the Firewoman's Challenge, which means Robin did not win. And we will be getting a recap from her in about 3 weeks' time on what happened down there from her vantage point. All right, Max Good coming up out of the break before we get to Max and talking about a new type of Kamado-style cooker. I'll talk to you about the Barbecue Guru. Maybe you want to consider getting a Barbecue Guru to put on this brand new ceramic-style type cooker that Max and I are going to be talking about. Barbecue Guru has always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy and fun because it can be. Especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. Speaking of Kamado cookers, Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature control. This is the ceramic cooker that has a built-in power draft fan already in the bottom of it. So if you have a controller, a Guru controller, wire it to the fan. Away you go. You're set up and ready. Also, that cooker comes with a veritable cornucopia of cooking accessories, the nests, the diverter plates, the hooks, the ash things. all the stuff that some of these other manufacturers want to nickel and dime you for. Bob does not believe in any of that. He wants to give you a lot of value with the price that you're paying, and that's why you want to consider the Monolith if you're in the market for a ceramic-style cooker. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill. You can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. And it doesn't get easier than that. If you have any questions or you want to peruse some of their other products offerings, hit up the website, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. Or you can call them 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. And the Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. Smokin' Joe, I was not going to ask her if she knew you, because if she said no, I did not want you to hang yourself. I'm thinking about you, pal. Thinking about you, not thinking about me. I'm thinking about me, thinking about you. Max Good coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. If you would like to order some, if you would like to peruse their flavors, if you want to see what else they have, go to cookinpellets.com, COOKIN pellets.com. You can also check out Amazon.com if you want as well. Hey, Max Good from Amazing Ribs is in tonight to talk about a newly released Kamado-style cooker, and this one not only looks to break performance records, as it relates to these style cookers, might break the bank as well. We race to the hotline and welcome in the keeper of the flame at AmazingRibs.com. That is, of course, Max Good. Hey, Max, how are you, pal?
Hey, good to see you again, Greg.
Happy to be seen, as always, Max. And we have a couple different items here to talk about tonight, not the least of which is this. We all love ceramic cookers. I think over the years, Big Green Egg is synonymous as the Kleenex, if you will, of ceramic cookers. Although I think Kamado Joe has really made a push to become the new Kleenex that Big Green Egg is commonly known as. But there's been plenty of other manufacturers that have shown up across the landscape over the last handful of years. But this one is, so as I was saying in the open, Kamado-style cooker by description, but really after that is a mold breaker in many respects.
True enough. They're calling it a Kamado, and I think that's a reasonable thing to do, but it's rectangular. It's very deep in the body. The venting system is quite different from other Kamados. I thought that it reminded me of the portable kitchen grills, the way it's
to a degree.
Configured, rectangular, with corresponding intake and exhaust dampers at the bottom on each side and at the top on each side. And I posed that to the designer, and he said, well, that's an interesting thing. But he said he had not thought of it. He just basically agreed with their design. It is gorgeous. It's $6,000. What do you expect from Kalamazoo? You know,
that's who makes it, is Kalamazoo.
Yeah, they make very expensive, very beautiful stuff. I see you're scrolling through this. That wood, you might notice. I think they put that beautiful wood on there to kind of bring it around a little. Well, just it is gorgeous, but you know, since they didn't go ceramic, which makes sense for them, and we can talk about that later. I think they wanted to bring this more earthy kind of feel in. That's just my speculation, but that's Ipe wood from Brazil.
Oh, well, I mean, I
Brazilian
think
walnut.
you can only have so much stainless steel before it becomes, let's say, gaudy to a certain degree. So adding that Ipe or Ipe wood or whatever the hell you just call it, that kind of sets it off a little bit, gives it a little hint of outdoorsiness, a little less pretentious, perhaps. But I like the change of pace with that wood.
Yeah, well, it certainly is appealing. They make the most elite, expensive outdoor kitchens. We're talking about cabinets, drawers, kegerators, sinks, the whole bit, and it is gorgeous stuff. And they wanted to go with their forte rather than try to get into the ceramic business. They just said, well, we're stainless steel guys, so let's do it. And this is what they came up with. It's very different. Obviously, the rectangular shape is different. There are oval shaped Kamados like Primo, which also there's big changes with them. And the also incredibly expensive Kamados. Some of them are oval shaped as well. And what we like about that, and what we like about this one in theory, although the theory has sort of been tested in many ways, is that instead of the round configuration, when you have a rectangular or oval shape, it's more conducive to setting up a two-zone setup, which is something that we gripe about the round Kamados. It can be done with conniptions and somersaults and all this, and of course the super extra large ones are easy to do, but this is just kind of built more for two-zone setups, and with those intake and exhaust dampers configured the way they are, it's even going to be more successful for two-zone cooking. And I'm going to see them tomorrow, Greg.
Is that an important judgment for you guys? Is the availability of two-zone cooking? I mean, if I can just throw my own 2 cents in, assuming it is. I that shouldn't hold that much weight depending on what kind of cooker it is, right?
Well, no, it does.
Yeah, but if you have a big green egg, or if you have a Kamado, I don't think people are buying that under the pretense that I can or cannot do a two-zone fire. You're going to put a place setter in there to get your indirect heat, and you're going to take it away if you want to do grilling.
Well, it becomes an all or nothing thing. Either you're going to cook hot, or you're going to cook medium, or you're going to cook low and slow. But if you can set up two zones, you have the ability to. It opens up more possibilities. And even for a simple thing, I know a lot of Kamado guys don't do burgers and hot dogs on them, but if you bring it down to a basic level, even something like that, it's nice to have, because if you can have a safe zone where something is cooking really hot, you can pull it off and put it in the safe zone. But moreover, if you're trying to do anything like reverse sear, we talk about that with Kamados. It can be done, but it's more difficult. It's a nice thing to be able to set up grills for two zones. Most charcoal grills can be done. A thing about ceramic Kamados is once they heat up, that ceramic wall, that dome shape, it's not going to change. So if you want to go low, you're fine. That's going to hold that temperature forever. But if you suddenly want to shift gears, go high, you're stuck there now. You don't have the two zones. And yes, they make these things that'll go at different levels, so you can bring the cooking surface down closer to the burning charcoal. The Shokunin by Kalamazoo takes the opposite approach. They've made the body very deep so that the charcoal grate can go through 3 levels. So you can have it down way low for low and slow smoking, or midway, which they say is kind of the same distance that most Kamado charcoal grates are from their primary cooking surface. Or you can set the charcoal grate up high for searing, and you can split them, as you can see in that picture you're showing right now. You can have one down low, one up high. You can open up the intake vents on that left side you're circling there and close down the exhaust vents. And then on the other side, you can close down the intake vents and open the exhaust vents. This is why it reminds me of the portable kitchen design, because then you get this cross ventilation going on. It's just cool. But it's Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo kind of exists in another world that we don't quite live in, Greg.
So, I mean, can you put a real life it cooks great yet, or you just were reviewing off of the information that you had and tomorrow's the day?
Well, their reputation as well. You know, some brands have a certain reputation that we have that have earned respect. Sure. But as I said, I will get my hands on one tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to, the situation does not afford me the ability to do a long, lone, slow session, but our plan is to do some chicken and steak.
Where are you going to be at for this?
Well, Kalamazoo.
Oh, you're going there. Okay.
Yeah. Because, hey, $6,000 grills, they don't usually send them to me. What can I tell you?
Yeah, right. Like, if you want it back, you got to come and get it. But I might never be home for you to come back and get it. So you're going to be doing some like medium to higher heat stuff. Like, what are you looking to test or evaluate? Is it? I mean,
well, one of the big things I want to do, Greg, is I want to just get in there and rip the thing apart. And I told him, don't fire it up till I get there.
Right.
I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to do video so that all our readers can really see what it is. You know, I mean, people who know something about grilling, like yourself and many of your listeners, if they can see a particular product, they go, hey, I get what that's all about. So that's one of the first thing I'm looking for. But then the second thing, of course, is let's fire it up. What can I say? You know, I mean, proof is in the pudding, but my expectations are high, and I have to say I'll be surprised if they're not met.
Yeah, $6,000 for this is certainly high end. Do you think that they happily charge what they charge and don't think twice about it? Am I saying that right? You know what I'm saying?
I think I know what you're saying. I think we've talked about this before. I don't know what their margins are. They're not a gazillion-dollar company like Weber. I have no idea what their business model is. I don't try to get into that. I just look at the products. But I think they want their price to be high.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're overpricing their gear in any way. It's just that people who buy Kalamazoo want to buy something most people don't have, just like a Ferrari or a diamond encrusted Rolex watch. You know, it's like, look at what I got, and it's great. It's great too. It's not like it's all just bells and whistles and glitz.
Right.
It's excellent stuff.
Right. Ferraris drive well. Diamond encrusted Rolexes keep precise time. I mean, there is actual, nuts and bolts to the whole deal. So hopefully the cooker actually holds up to its end of the bargain. But I mean, how much does this thing weigh? I mean, it looks like it might weigh 800 pounds.
I think because it's not ceramic. Remember, it's heavy, thick stainless steel. I don't know the gauge, but I know those guys don't go on the thin route with it. And it's all, of course, really top quality stainless steel. And it has glass fiber insulation, 2 inches of glass fiber insulation,
wow.
Not within a welded stainless steel housing. Mm-hmm. So it's not as heavy as a ceramic, but it's still rather heavy because they use very thick stainless steel.
All right. Anything else to tie this one up before we move on?
I wanted to talk about our meetup in Memphis.
No, I meant the cooker, Max. I meant the cooker.
Oh, cookers. Oh, about this one. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Next time when we talk.
Tomorrow's a big day. We'll have more reporting after tomorrow, and we'll see how it actually holds up under fire. The other one that I wanted to ask you about was this 3-in-1 Cuisinart, which definitely isn't a name that you typically synonymize. That's a word I've just made up with outdoor cooking. But tell me a little bit about this one.
Well, it is actually made by the Bolts Group, which my understanding is they're kind of some of the Brinkman people after Brinkman went down.
Really?
And they're doing, a limited catalog of different things. They're making this one for the Cuisinart brand, and it's kind of the opposite. Kalamazoo, this one's about $350.
Oh.
But I got to tell you, I like it. The reason they call it 3-in-1 is that it's a grill, obviously, a gas grill,
See that?
but they throw in a heavy-duty, large cast iron griddle. There it is, that hangs on the left side. And then they throw in a smoker tube that hangs on the right side. And the smoker tube, of course, you put in some wood chips and put it on top of the burners, and it creates a little bit of smoke. The griddle is wonderful. Anybody who's done any griddling on any type of grill knows how much fun it is and how wonderful it is for fish and small things like asparagus that go fall through your grates. The smoke tube, as anyone who has used one, and maybe some would disagree with me, I just don't like smoking on a gas grill. Of course, I have the luxury of having real smokers. There's just nothing beats a dedicated smoker in my view. And a lot of these smoke boxes and tubes just come off to me as almost like window dressing. All the smoke blows right out the back immediately.
Yeah.
And in this case, their smoke tube is very difficult to replenish. I didn't even try to do it. Some of the smoke boxes, you can lift them up while you're cooking and throw more chips in.
My biggest concern is going to be, while it's cute, the look-through window is going to be magically covered in grease. It's going to cake on, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to clean. Am I right or wrong?
You are absolutely right. And it's like now you see it, now you don't.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's why
That's
I
tough.
said in my review, which isn't up yet, but it will be up very soon. And I say this about all the windows. Just, try to clean it before or after each cook if you want to use it. Otherwise, it's going to go black. And I've taken a razor blade to them things, and it still is a futile battle, Greg.
No doubt. It's the 3-in-1 from Cuisinart, a 5-burner, $300+ is Max.
I want to give one more plug. It really has some. The burners themselves are not real powerful. They're only 9,600 BTU, but the 5 of them within a modest cook surface gives it a heat flux rating of something like 107. It gets to 700 degrees with no sear burner. So you can crank this thing and do some serious searing.
Wow. All right. So let's tie it up here with the meetup from AmazingRibs.com. That's going to be in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's slated for summer next year, correct?
That is correct. July 31st through August 2nd. I'm referring to my notes here.
Yep.
Long distance information. Get you to Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be our home base is the Peabody Hotel, which is a historic site.
Yep.
Beautiful, right by Beale Street, right in touch with all the events we're going to have, like Mark Lambert, the incredible champion, award-winning barbecue master. Mark Lambert is going to show us whole hog, amongst other things. In keeping with our region there, we're going to do an all pork type thing. And just have a blast. Forbes magazine calls this the ultimate barbecue lovers road trip event of 2020. Greg, you better be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot of fucking money. I'll be honest. A lot of money.
What's that damn fun? Come on, I've been at one day events with Celebrity Chef.
Yeah.
$1,600 per head.
$1,600. Max is rich, everybody. Holy, wow! How are you floating $1,600 a day, Max? What is Meathead paying you? Holy moly!
My side business.
No doubt. Oh, Black Swan. How about that?
No.
Look at you. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Black Swan, Black Heroin, whatever. Same thing. So this is going to be next summer. Do you have any idea as far as how many tickets are left? Because I know the number is literally fleeting.
Yeah, it's limited. Hurry up. Go to AmazingRibs.com/Memphis2020, or just go to AmazingRibs.com where you can easily find your way around it. But it's $637. If you signed up now, it's going to go up to $737 on November 28th. So move quick.
Move quick.
Get
all
your
right.
space.
And Max Good will be there, correct? You are confirmed?
I will be there.
All right. Wonderful. So aside from Meathead, you will guarantee get to see Max Good, and I'm sure it's all downhill from there. With all the, after those 2 stars, I mean, come on. How could you possibly
Well, we're looking forward to seeing all of you.
All right. AmazingRibs.com is the place to go for all barbecue grilling information. Max Good is here talking about the Shokunin Kamado style cooker from Kalamazoo and the Cuisinart 3-in-1 5-burner gas grill. Max, as always, I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, Greg. Hope to see you soon.
All right, there he is, Max Good. Good to have Max back in. Solid. Didn't have to get on the horn. Didn't have to do it. Glad we didn't have to. Didn't even think about it, to be honest. But it was a lot of good information being shared. Plus a road trip, Sunday road trip for Sunday. It's Tuesday. Wednesday road trip for Max to Kalamazoo, Michigan to try this bad boy out. That's kind of exciting. Yeah. I wouldn't mind making that trip as well. Day job will screw that up immediately, but whatever. If you are interested in the write-up, go to AmazingRibs.com. I believe if you click under News tab, a couple down, it's called the Kalamazoo Shokunin Kamado Cooker. So Max did a distance review, and tomorrow he gets his hands on it for the first time, and we'll see how that review goes. All right, we're back to wrap the first hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by the BBQ Central Show. You're welcome. Thanks again to Max for joining us. AmazingRibs.com is the website. Also, we turn around and thank Jackie Milligan from Team Chupacabra. How about that item that she turned in that had like pineapple and cream cheese and bacon? I got lost as soon as she mentioned pineapple on top of all that. I mean, I think one of the things that I love the most that I don't think about too much, one is turkey, but two is pineapple. I love pineapple. I love pineapple in the can. I love fresh pineapple. I love somebody that's cut up pineapple for me. I love it in slices and spheres and spears and chunks. I love all pineapple. I love pineapple liqueur when I used to drink, pineapple martini, pineapple tea, pineapple juice on the rocks, you name it. I love it. Also, if you're looking for a cheaper 5-burner cooker, the Cuisinart 3-in-1. And Max said, although the burners by themselves are low on the horsepower, they do generate a substantial heat flux. So quickly get to 700 degrees. And then be wary of that window, that peek-in window, right? Of course. No, I don't like pineapple upside down cake. I didn't think about that, TNS Barbecue. You caught me. You caught me. I'm not a big cake guy. Pie, somewhat. Is there a pineapple pie? Somebody send me a pineapple pie. AmazingRibs.com for Max. I don't think Jackie Milligan has a website, or at least she didn't give me one, but she is Team Chupacabra. We are pointing to the second hour where we have the embedded correspondence and more. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big BBQ Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me! Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Well, listen, Liberty, it's a shit face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now.
And just like that, we are in the second hour. Welcome aboard here. You found the BBQ Central Show. We talk about barbecue-related items. If you've missed the first hour, what could possibly have been more important? I'll let it slide this time. Luckily, I'm recording, so you can get this show on podcast starting in about an hour from now. Actually, 2 hours from now. All whole day tomorrow, though, of course. The segment brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via the Bluetooths. And if you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're at home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. Let me tell you, I have a Fireboard. I've had it for a long time. And for the majority of that long time, it sat in a drawer. I hate to say that. And then I decided this day I am going to use it. And then I set it up, and it was as easy. You know, that was the other thing. A lot of times you hear this is easy to set up, or it takes no time to get up and running right out of it. And then you really get down to it, and you start putting 2 and 2 together. It's not. Get that big stuff out of here. Fireboard says super easy. Hook it to your home network in like 5 seconds, but you're up and running in no time flat. 100% the truth. I took it out of the box. I turned it on. It found my network. I put the password in. The little box was ready to go where you plug all the inputs in. I got online, made the quick account. Now I can see it graphing on my computer. It's running in the background. It's hooked to the LAN. It couldn't have been simpler. And I have 3 inputs plus a pit temperature probe if I want to use one. And I still have room for 3 other probes. You can load it out with 6 total. So I guess that would be 2 of the 3. I have 2 internals and a ambient pit temperature probe. It's so easy. It's accurate. I did test it in boiling water, of course, which I highly recommend that you do. Even if you have the thermopens and all that crap, boil water once a month, stick them in there, make sure they're reading 212. Make sure that sometimes they get out of calibration, and if you don't check it, you don't know. Word to the wise, check it. If you haven't done it in a while, check it like tomorrow or before the weekend or before your next cook so you don't screw it up. But I'm telling you, unsolicited, this time unsolicited. When I was reading the read, they were paying me to do that, but this is unsolicited. If you don't have a Fireboard and you're looking for a reliable, automatic, like remote thermometer that you can use your computer with, that comes with a really intuitive app that logs notes, you can do all this, plus 6 inputs. You can literally measure 6 internal meat temperatures differently Or 6 all with one. If you have a huge cut of lion, you can stick 6 different temperature probes in that cut of lion and monitor all 6 at the same time. It's so nice. So easy. Well worth the money. Great Christmas gift if you haven't thinking about. This is something that I feel very passionate about now because, as I had said, when they sent me one, and I didn't pay any money for it, but when they sent me one, I chucked it right in the drawer because I was a little worried about how hard it was going to be to set up. And so it sat there for months, and then I decided to give it a try because I thought about maybe I would talk shit about it, but lo and behold, it's magic. It's so easy. You got to go get it. I'm telling you right now, if you are asking for something for Christmas or if you're looking for a gift because you think you have everything, and if you don't have a fireboard, go to your lover, your wife, whatever, girlfriend, same-sex lover, whatever you like, and say, hey, person, I want a fireboard this year. You will thank me later. You will thank me. So easy, so versatile, super easy to set up. I can't believe how easy it was to set up. I'm on a tangent here, but let me tell you something. Still to come on this show tonight, it is the 4th Tuesday of the month. That's the Embedded Correspondence. Thank you. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok at BBQ Central Show for all of those, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook if you want to do that thing, no problem. Coming up on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday. If you can believe it, we are episode 95. That means, if my math is correct, 5 weeks from now, we will be at episode 100. Episode 95, however, takes you back to October 20th, 2015, so almost 4 years to the day. Actually, a little over 4 years to the day. And first part is a barbecue roundtable. And I hate to admit this, but I am not going to lie about it. We had Robin Lindars on this competition, or on this roundtable. We had Bill Minahan. By the way, from a nostalgic standpoint of the show, Bill Minahan, who was on the show, I don't know if it was semi-regularly, but he had been on a couple times. What a great personality Bill was. I don't know how we lost contact, or maybe he just got out of barbecue, or maybe I just stopped reaching out. I don't know. A lot of things transpired during the course of the show. But when he was on, a great ball of energy and always had a take and not afraid to share it. He was a great guest. And then Chad Warren. And here's where I need to apologize. I don't know who Chad Warren is anymore. Chad Ward or Chad Warren? John, send me a message immediately. Is it Chad Warren in the best of? Because I don't know who Chad Warren is anymore. I apologize, Chad, if it is Chad Warren. If it's Chad Ward, I know who Chad Ward is, and he don't know me anymore. If it's Chad Warren, I apologize. I just don't remember 4 years ago. Why do I know him, John? Why did I have him on? Boy, I hate to say that, but you talk to so many people, and he just falls through the cracks. My humble apologies, Chad. My humble apologies. So that's the first part of the best moments. Then in the second part, Daniel Vaughn also stopped by to talk about being the Texas Monthly barbecue editor. All right, now I have to stall because I was going to do one story before we get into the embedded correspondence segment, but now I want to share a different story with you because I just mentioned Daniel Vaughn. If you are on social media, maybe you did see this, maybe you didn't see this, but there's a account called BBQ Confessions or BBQ Confessionals, and while I cannot say that when I was watching or reading this guy, he said that he was going to take the account down after this. But basically, he finds names in the industry to give barbecue confessions. And here's one from Texas Monthly's barbecue editor, Daniel Vaughn. And I quote, "Far away from home in the Big Bend region, I was filming with Kelsey Probisky for Barbecue Quest as a co-host. We had just got done with our first of 3 days of shooting. Hadn't eaten any barbecue that day because we were saving it for the last 2 days. At dinner that night in Alpine, we all ate the same thing, except I had a salad with my chicken fried steak, which is what I'm guessing got me sick. Back at the hotel, I woke up at 2 a.m. with the sudden urge to use the bathroom, which is never a good thing. I was up all night puking, had diarrhea, had to meet the crew at 6 a.m. to drive to the first location as we got to Convenience West in Marfa Midtown after shooting background scenes for the show. I hadn't eaten all day and was hydrating as much as I could. I held down the puking, but it was definitely not, but I was definitely not farting with confidence, not farting with it. We sit down at a large tray of food. I realized the way the producers wanted to shoot this was to have us eat everything on the tray. Not clean the tray, but a piece here or a piece there, shoot it a couple times, so I'm forcing a smile like I'm feeling good about it. As I look hungry, as hungry as I can for barbecue, got done, headed back to the hotel for a night of vomiting, for the night vomiting stop, but still had diarrhea. Next morning, wake up, blah, 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 take a picture with the whole crew and Dodd Buckman, DB's owner. The sun hits me in just the right way, and I sneezed. There's a code. You tell the production staff that you need a bathroom break very quickly. Since there's no bathroom inside DB's, I had to jump in one of their vehicles, drove down to the gas station. At the gas station bathroom, I immediately threw away my underwear in the trash, cleaned up best I could, sprayed my shorts with Febreze that was there. Changing clothes was not an option since we needed continuity from shot to shot, and we had the same outfits on. Hopped back to the car and headed back to the shoot. We made it through the rest of the shoot, got back in my car, drove 7.5 hours back home to Dallas. How about that? Daniel, out of all the times you've been on this show, that's a story you didn't want to talk about or bring up? That's a barbecue confession right there. Sneezed and crapped his pants. Sick, by the way. Like, he was sick, it is gross, but he was sick. Sneezed, crapped his pants, left to go to the gas station. Freshened up best he could, and to stay consistent, stayed with the same clothes, which was ballsy. And then drove 8 hours home after the fact. Wow, we got to ask him about that next time, no doubt. We're leading with that, Daniel. Hopefully this doesn't get back to him. We have the embedded correspondence coming up. I will talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, they make some of the best sausage and Central Texas barbecue available today. Owned for 3 generations by the same family. It's the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They ship nationwide. All meats processed on the USDA inspected facility, a trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options available right now, shipping nationwide via FedEx or through food distribution channels like Cisco, US Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable from research and development to package completion. They can also follow your recipes or help you develop something new. Private label opportunities also available. Visit SouthsideMarket.com. That's SouthsideMarket.com. And when you order, use code BBQ Central, all one word, lowercase, BBQ Central. Get 10% off your entire order. This time, the next time, and the time after that. Just keep going. 10% off, BBQ Central. We are back with the embedded correspondence. Stick around, be right back.
the only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue, a man actually named Meathead, the author of a barbecue Bible, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Smithfield. That's right. Hey, did you know that Smithfield's National Championship is getting ready to come off here in a couple weeks? All the teams have been invited. Everybody's ready to rock and roll. So, hey now, go to smokingwithsmithfield.com for all the deets if you are not familiar with that. Also, check back to that website every now and again. You never know what's going to be happening out there, but can't wait to see how the first annual National Barbecue Championship goes down in New Orleans. 3 days of cooking, I believe. So you have that to look forward to in the next couple weeks. It is the fourth Tuesday of the month, and that's all I really need to say. It's the Embedded Correspondent segment. And we have Steve Ray from Ooltewah, Tennessee. We have John Solberg, top right in Michigan. We have the longest-ranging correspondent, Doug Scheiding in Texas, bottom left. And there's David Huff in Oklahoma, right there on the bottom right. Gentlemen, appreciate you making time, as always, as we do it here once per month, towards the end of each and every month, and a lot of topics to get to. Right off the bat, John Solberg from Michigan, a quick recap, if you have any. By the way, can I do this? No, I can't do that. All right, I'm going to get to it. Your backdrop is magical, John. I mean, it is. You might have a more professional-looking backdrop than me, and that is hard to do. By the way, Steve is running a very close second, although it's a magical backdrop. It's a magical backdrop. I love it. What did you do? How do you have it set up there, John?
I have a sound enclosure around this to try to drown out the other noise while I'm recording the Best Moment show. So just basically a couple sound baffles behind me on three sides.
Oh.
There's like 3 inches of mineral wool in these walls behind me and a couple bass traps in the corner just for effect. I have no idea why it's blurry. It's not. I got to figure that one out.
You don't know why it's blurry?
No, that's a toggle that's switched off. So.
Oh well, I think it looks, the color looks very warm and inviting. That's what I'm trying to say. I really don't know what the fascination with the blurry background is with these cameras all of a sudden. Like, you guys got cameras, and then I'm not talking about you, John, specifically, and Doug, or I think David has never used the blur, which I certainly appreciate. But for instance, I was just talking with Steve a couple hours ago. There was no blur, and he has decided to just throw the blur back on again. I mean, it's unbelievable.
If I could interject,
I didn't touch a thing.
If I could interject quickly, my blur was off, and when this call picks up, the blur turns on. I just went in and shut it off.
Am I blurry? Do I have a blurry background? Hold on.
No, there's a connection issue.
Do I have a blurry background? Am I blurred?
No.
No. Okay.
Am I blurred?
No, but it looks like you might have undone it.
I did, because it switched itself on after connecting to the call.
All right, so that's
Steve,
why
yours is on as well.
So Doug you have yours on purpose, or you've been a victim?
I have no idea.
It automatically switches on when on the call. You got to undo it.
All right, got it. So you're a victim, right, Doug?
Yeah, I have no idea how to switch it.
All right, yeah, no problem. All right, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to yell at Steve 2 months in a row because
I appreciate
yeah. So that's why I just kind of fished it out there before I went ballistic.
I didn't want you yelling at me for Steve 2 months in a row.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, let me go back to you again, John. World Food Championships 2019, and I'm not going to ask you to break it down or do any of this stuff, but, and this is the same question for all you guys, just from a high level, is it on the radar? Is it off the radar? Is it like nowhere near the radar? What are your thoughts on World Food Championships?
I would love it to be on my radar, but I find it extremely difficult to follow. You can't keep up with it on a day-to-day basis. They don't update their social media sites, in my opinion. They never update the website. You can't figure out what's going on. It's just hard to follow. Their lives are difficult to watch and listen to. I'd love for it to be on the radar, but it can't be unless you have someone on the ground like Doug does, who's close and can feed us information. It's hard to follow.
What about you, David? David, are you on mute?
Yes, I am.
There you are.
Yeah. Trying to cut out that heavy mouth breathing that I do.
No problem.
Yeah, I agree with what John said. Not only that, but I don't know. I don't feel like it gets the publicity, the marketing. It doesn't get the fanfare that some of the big barbecue contests do. And so I don't think it has the same following. I don't think anybody around here knows about the World Food Championships the way they know about barbecue contests.
All right, Doug, your thoughts? World Food Championship?
Yeah, I mean, I was like John was saying in terms of them updating their website and even their social media, et cetera. I was learning more from just fellow IBCA members that were there and looking at their web pages, et cetera. So that's kind of how I've followed Jackie through it. You mentioned, David, in terms of big barbecue contests. Does anybody have an idea how many IBCA teams there were this year?
No.
Any guesses? 28.
Is that a lot?
28. That sucks. That's terrible. Yeah. So to give you a point of reference, the Waxahachie event that she mentioned, that's going to be up there, which is up near Dallas, is going to have over 300 teams.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not like it's a locale kind of thing. It doesn't get the notoriety. And that was one of the reasons moving to Dallas, right? We all thought that they would get more IBCA type teams. So I didn't hear much about it other than I did talk to a couple people afterwards that told me a few details.
Doug, do you think from an IBCA standpoint that it's not being promoted to them to come out and cook it, or were you hearing conversations of saying, hey, I'm either going to do the World Foods or I'm going to do this competition? You know, it's one or the other. Or were people not talking about World Foods at all?
Yeah, not many people were talking about World Foods. I mean, I know that they had 9 no-shows, is what I heard. So 9 out of 28 is pretty big. Jackie mentioned that a few things to work out, and she didn't have problems with move-in. The early birds that got there first, they had to wait 2.5 hours before they got their act together, and they could move them into different spaces. And so they just didn't have it, well thought out. I did hear that attendance, that the attendance was almost non-existent. Wasn't that one of the reasons that they moved to Dallas as well? I heard it was blamed on, the Dallas Cowboys game and the state fair. But I do have one interesting piece of information. I heard that Johnny Trigg did not actually cook his meat, that he had a hired gun cook his meat.
Do you have any way to prove that?
This came from a very reliable source that was at the contest and said it was J.D. Henley. He was one of the top cooks.
J.D. Henley was the one that was doing the cooking for Johnny Trigg.
That is what I heard.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a bit of salacious news there coming out of the Trigg camp. Just another reason why he will never talk to me again, as we're talking about it here on the show. Do you think he would admit to that if asked?
I heard that they were trying to kind of keep things on the down low, but that's why the source will remain.
All right, I know somebody that I can ask about that at a later date, and I will confirm back to you on that. Then we'll
confirm, please.
All right, Steve, let me get your thoughts on World Food Championships and how you think it's operating.
Well, I still love them. I don't understand the problem with y'all finding. I found all kinds of information on the website. It was updated daily. It wasn't updated minutely, but it was updated every night. There's a real nice synopsis of it. And anybody know where the final table is? It's on the website. Anybody know where the final table is in the spring?
Like where the location is? Where the location is?
Yeah, final table 2020.
I have no idea. Everybody's shaking their head now.
What's your favorite city?
Chicago.
No, your other favorite city.
Cleveland.
No. You've got to know there's another favorite city. You love it.
New York City.
No.
What?
Indianapolis.
That's my favorite city.
I know that.
All right.
That's where it is, 2020. And guess what? It was right on the website.
Really?
With all the winners. Hey, you know what I thought was weird, though? World barbecue champion Ryan Murphy cooked. The winning dish was Wagyu steak dinner. The world steak champion Ryan Hegland, winning dish Tomahawk Wagyu ribeye. Isn't that weird?
It's all steak, right?
Barbecue is it just doesn't fit this concept. I'm sorry. It just does not fit. I don't care who cooks what, how many teams. I thought they had like 60-some teams in the IBCA competition, Doug. I thought they had like 20-something in the EAT and 60-something in the IBCA.
I was told 28 with 9 no-shows. And a couple people that had qualified didn't cook the IBCA that had already qualified in the EAT.
I saw that. I thought I saw it. Maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't fit this. It's a very exciting event. The kitchen is wonderful. I went 2 years ago. I would have loved to gone back again. And if I ever do get to go back again, it won't be for barbecue. It will be for some like steak, hamburger, sandwich. And you know what won burger too? And you'll love this, Greg. Guess what kind of burger won?
Wagyu burger.
No.
Bubba Burger.
George Moat, Smash Burgers.
Smash. He won that?
No, he didn't. But James Cheek from Muscle Shoals, Alabama did.
Right.
With the hometown Smash Burger as the winner.
Smash Burger. All right. Well, that's great.
How about that?
Well,
It was on the website, John. John, it was on the website.
I'm torn here because I think so. If you go to here's the problem. If you go to the website, there's a large landing page. There's a lot of big, colorful buttons. And what you want to see is in colorfulness or just blinking and jumping up and down like a flashing red. 2019 results, but it's not there. Where it is all the way at the top in very little letters. It says 2019 results. It's very small above all the color, all that stuff, and then you can find the results. That's really got to be addressed because you look over it, you're excited when you get on the page, you're like, I got to find this, I got to find that. But it's just in the very, very small top letters right above all the other colorful stuff where it says results or like an event, an exhibit, and all this other crap. So that needs to be addressed. I found a lot of information through their Facebook page. I guess the only problem that I have is there just seems to be such a download of information on their Facebook page that if you're not there as it happens, it can quickly get lost through the scroll. And like I'm somebody that refuses to scroll for anything. Like if it doesn't show up after I do the mouse button once, I'm on to the next thing. So I don't know how you rectify that situation, but there is a overwhelming amount of information on their Facebook page, and it's all the time and every day, and this person's a new sponsor, and this is the person of charity, and this person's going to be featured and is going to be cooking. I mean, Steve, you would agree that there is a huge amount of info that's being pressed through that Facebook page, right?
Oh, enormous amount. And the Facebook Live things are weird because it cuts in. You don't know what they're talking about. I would cut those out. I don't think they do much to enhance the coverage of it, unless they want to, dedicate a Facebook page to a full day where you can come in and come out instead of them coming in and coming out to your feed.
All right, that's going to do it for World Food Championships. Now, let's get to the topic at hand. Gang, we've been practicing for this. We've been consuming for this. We've been generating reviews for this, and it was supposed to happen last month, but obviously it didn't for good reason. And this is what appears to be a fast food love affair with the brisket. Specifically, brisket sandwich, which really from a old school or traditionalist sense, brisket isn't a sandwich, right? You go to the barbecue shop and you say, I want a pound of this, and they slice it and they put it on a tray, and maybe there's some pickles and onions or jalapenos or whatever. Get a side of beans. And you sit down and you pick the meat up and you put it in your mouth. Maybe you get some white bread on the side, but has anybody ever seen anybody use white bread on a friggin' barbecue tray? I have never seen it. It's like Ike Barinholtz once said, here, let me give you many slices of 10-cent bread on this 24-hour piece of meat that I smoked. But I don't understand the white bread on the barbecue tray. But it's not a freaking sandwich, right? So Subway had recently come out with their Subway authentically smoked brisket sandwich. And I said, well, this has got to be it. Gentlemen, please go to your local Subway and get this Subway brisket sandwich and evaluate. And we're going to talk about it on the Embedded Correspondent site. Then I said, not only that, go to your Arby's, because Arby's has had brisket on their menu for years now. It was originally a special sandwich, the brisket smokehouse sandwich, that has made its way onto the regular menu, unless I'm completely off base there. But every time I go, it's on there. And I said, get the brisket smokehouse sandwich, get the Subway sandwich, eat them both, make notes, and then we'll compare, contrast, potentially pick a winner here on the BBQ Central Show. So, David Huff, you are a budding YouTube star. You have a palate that is second to many. So, tell me about your experience with Subway sandwiches first, and that's how we will go around. We'll do Subway first.
Well, I sure like the field assignment of the thermometer and the steaks a hell of a lot better than the Subway sandwich, I'll tell you that.
You know, this is funny, David, that you mentioned that. This is almost like when we evaluate barbecue pitmasters. You know, everybody hated the version when they followed all the teams around because nobody won. But then in the second season, when that douche took over as host, and then everybody was like, oh, this is the worst ever. We want to go back to, like, nobody liked taking thermometers to restaurants. I think one of my other guests said that I was a douche for doing that, by the way. But now, all of a sudden, it was a great idea. But I love how we have revisionist history. But anyway, go ahead, Dave.
I didn't mind taking thermometers to the restaurant at all. That was fun. But the Subway brisket sandwich, best summed up like this. I brought mine home. I let my wife take a bite. She looked square at me and said, "That's not brisket." If my wife can point that out, that pretty much says all you need to know. It didn't look like brisket to me. If so, it looked like it was definitely sliced the wrong way. It looked pressed, a little chewy. I tried to get it without the barbecue sauce so I could actually taste the brisket itself, and I regretted that. It was one of those ones that should have been smothered in a good barbecue sauce. So, was not a fan of the texture, was not a fan of the flavor, was not a fan of anything about it.
Would you ever get it again?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right, John Solberg?
Well, I'm going to go right out of the gate. It was so bad, I did it twice. Because I thought maybe the first time was a mistake. So I drove 90 miles to another Subway and got another one. For me, it was so bad. Even the girlfriend, she couldn't swallow it. And that's pretty unusual.
We're talking about brisket, right?
We're talking about brisket. Of course we're talking about brisket. Where are you going with this, mister? It was, you know what? I actually ate the brisket. So if I had to score it, I'd score it at 2s across the board. I couldn't give it a 1.
Wow,
there's no way I could but I'd score it 2 across the board only because I did swallow it.
Steve, your thoughts on Subway?
It was awful. Horrible. It was. I watched him make it. The brisket looked like sliced roast beef. Smoked cheddar. Who's ever put smoked cheddar on a brisket sandwich? It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. It's that thin. It's that thin when you get it. It's all pressed. It's all bread. Subway, everything they serve is all bread. They got little pieces of meat on it, and they got this huge bun, and you eat it, you fill up on the bun. You know what these guys are doing? They're not looking to serve a good brisket sandwich. They're just looking to use the word brisket because it's so popular. It's brisket, Texas brisket. We cooked it for 14 days. We cooked it for this long. It's brisket. We have a guy that's in the back of the restaurant. That's all he does is cook brisket fries. Firehouse Subs has a brisket sandwich now. Firehouse Subs. Have you ever had one of their subs?
Never.
A brisket at Firehouse Sub. That's a tuna salad place. Okay. And then they got brisket. They just want to use the word brisket.
Yeah.
It's just like McDonald's wants to use the word ribs. The McRib, because we want to be on the barbecue train. But they're not interested in putting out a good product. They're interested in putting out the word brisket. And they did a good job because they wrote the word brisket on a poster. But when you get the sandwich, it tastes like shoulder clod on a hoagie roll.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with everybody here. Now, I am getting a dissenting review in the instant chat where John Dawson of Patio Daddio Barbecue does say that he ordered it, liked it, and it was actually cut to a 1/4 inch, if you can believe it. Hold on, Doug. I'm going to get to here in just a second. So let's go to Doug for his review.
This just shows that Texas brisket is ingrained in the people down here. Y'all are crazy. I got a 12-inch brisket sandwich, and I said, make it. And he asked me what I wanted on it, right? Maybe I'll put all the wrong things on it. I said, make it how most people like it. He said, okay. So we put brisket, cheese. I left it to him. Green peppers, red onions, pickles, and a little bit of barbecue sauce.
Wow.
I thought it was actually very good. I liked the crunch of the pickles. The sauce actually complemented it. You could taste the meat. So it was tender. Yes, it was thin, but it was tender. It had a decent smoke flavor, and it even had a little bit of fat on it. I actually thought this would be a perfect thing. If you're on a road trip or driving or whatever, stop in at your Subway and get this sandwich and eat it on the road while you're driving. I actually thought it would be good for that, and I would definitely get it again.
Really? Look at Doug. Doug's last name has gone from Scheiding to Subway. Doug Subway on the show. Now, I will quickly review for me. I'm like 75% of you guys. It was perhaps one of the most horrific sandwiches that I've ever had in my life. The meat was retrieved from the cold bin where it was put in a cardboard boat and then sent into the microwave for a flash reheat. And I did not ask my sandwich artist, by the way. I used to be a sandwich artist, so I know what goes into it. And I wanted the full brisket experience. It's almost like when we talk about the Impossible Burger. And, how could the Impossible Burger really be that bad? I mean, the Impossible Whopper, I'm sorry. How could the Impossible Whopper really be that bad when it has ketchup and mustard and onions and pickles and tomatoes and all the other crap that goes on top of a hamburger? Because it's hiding the Impossible Burger part of the Impossible Whopper. Same thing goes here. If you're going to start putting on all the Subway crap that goes on every other Subway sub, well, then you're burying the lead, which is brisket. And that is, if you're any barbecue restaurant of your salt, you don't put brisket on the bottom of anything. It's always above everything. That is the lead. That's what people want to come in and get. It's the hottest thing right now. It was super thin. It had a horrendously fake-looking smoke ring. It tasted not like brisket, and there were 2 freaking slices on a 6-inch sub. 2 slices. It was insulting. It was terrible, and it was demeaning to me and everybody in the barbecue community except Doug, and it should be out of the menu immediately. And by the way, if I may ask, Subway, who in the sweet fuck is Pitmaster Ramon? Steve, who's Pitmaster Ramon?
I have no idea.
John, who is Pitmaster Ramon?
I don't know, but I just logged this rant, by the way.
David, do you have any idea who Pitmaster Ramon is?
Yeah, he's just like the Pillsbury Doughboy, the Jolly Green Giant. He's any marketing icon that you want to believe something is authentic.
Now let's go to the most credible source here on this panel, Doug Subway, who must be bestest friends with Ramon the Pitmaster.
Well, he's been cooking for 38 years. If you read all the information, so he must know what he's doing.
You know how many Subway restaurants are strewn across the country. I mean, this guy must never get sleep. Wow-wee. All right.
Yeah.
So Doug likes it. Everybody else does like. Now, let's get on with Arby's Smokehouse Brisket Sandwich, and we'll start with David.
Well, first off, Doug also doesn't like hot dogs, as we know. So those two things combined makes me very much question his taste.
The longest running embedded correspondent and the first fired embedded correspondent.
That's not true. I've been fired multiple times already.
That's
so I thought now I actually enjoy the Arby's sandwich, not because I believe it's a true brisket sandwich, but I believe the flavor of it, while not necessarily brisket, is very enjoyable. And it might have to do with everything else that's on it. I think the loaded one comes with like the fried onion straws and the cheese, and I like Arby's horsey sauce, that horseradish flavor. So I actually don't mind it for a enjoyable sandwich, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a brisket sandwich either.
John?
I agree with David. I didn't taste brisket in there, but I thought it was a tasty sandwich. I thought it was good. I ate the whole thing, which wasn't my intention. And I'm an Atkins guy, so I paid that price all night for it. I probably wouldn't get another one, but I thought it was a good sandwich. But is it a brisket sandwich? It's debatable.
Steve?
It was just a little more tolerable than the Subway sandwich, but because it's got barbecue sauce smothered on it, it's got an onion ring. Can you imagine going down to Franklin's restaurant in Austin and say, put a couple onion rings on with that brisket? It doesn't happen. Weird piece of cheese. I don't know what was it. Provolone was on mine, I think. Greg, I sent you a video. I don't know if you watched it. It looked like a piece of provolone cheese or something like that. A lot of sauce on it, a lot of just icky old sauce. And that's what I tasted. I tasted the tangy sauce.
Stand by for this video.
Look at the inside, okay?
This is the Subway.
Looks juicy.
Does it look nice?
It looks nice. It looks juicy. Yeah.
A little juicy. All right. Close her back up.
All right.
Let's get a picture of the Arby's. Open that top one. Yeah.
That is a weird piece of cheese.
An onion ring.
It's like onion.
It's weird.
Rings that you call them. And
cheese. Can you open that cheese part? Let's get to the.
Let's get
to the meat.
Yeah, that looks tender as well.
Oh, it looks very.
It looks tender. I mean, you got Steve. In all honesty, you didn't seem like you hated that.
Well, no, I was just trying to describe it. It looks tender. It was real tender, but who knows what kind of meat it was? It looked like it tasted like an Arby's roast beef. It tasted like an Arby's ham sandwich. It tasted just like an Arby's turkey sandwich. It's got no distinguishable taste. Brisket has got its own wonderful meat, hard taste. And these sandwiches don't have that, and they're just passing it off as brisket. It's not. They could call it a roast beef sandwich, and people go, "Oh, it's a great roast beef sandwich."
All right, Doug, weigh in on the Arby's Smokehouse brisket sandwich.
Well, it was $9.73 when it came with a drink and curly fries, and I love curly fries, but mine did not have provolone, so mine had cheddar, just like the Subway, and it didn't have horsey sauce. And I do like the horsey sauce because that'll drown out almost anything. And in fact, that would probably be the only redeeming quality if they would have put horsey sauce on this sandwich. It was terrible. The barbecue sauce is way too sweet. I couldn't taste the brisket. And when I took a bite, mine had bacon on it. And when I took a bite, the bacon comes off in one strip, and it has sugar on it. And it was sugar on top of sugar. Too much bun to meat ratio, which is a cardinal sin in my book. And I could taste a little bit of either vinegar or perhaps liquid smoke in the brisket, and it was pretty tight. I did not like it at all.
Huh. Well, let me continue to be with the other 75% of the panel here. This was easily the most delicious brisket sandwich of the two that I had. Would I be looking to go fetch another one here after the show's over, or will I think about getting another one like anytime soon? Oh, probably not. But it was way more relatable to what I would consider to be barbecue between the two. There was way more than two freaking pieces on the Arby's sandwich than there was on the Subway sandwich. There was a smoke flavor of some sort on the Arby's meat. And by the way, for somebody who is very, very discerning when it comes to barbecue sauce, I didn't think the Arby's barbecue sauce was really that bad, all things considered. So, and Doug, let's be honest here. When you're making food for the incredible masses, I mean, that sauce is going to win every time. I mean, just open up a bottle of any sauce on the grocery store shelf, and it's overly sweet and it's pumped full of magic smoke crap and all that stuff. So it's not out of the thought process that they would probably go that route. But I mean, this was, if we're rating, the Subway for me was like a 2, like John said, and then the Arby's sandwich was probably going to be an 8. If we're like, there's that much discrepancy for me in between the two. If I had to go get another one of those, I would get the Arby's 10 times out of 10 versus the Subway. And I would not recommend the Subway, where I would say, well, I mean, if you have an Arby's and you really want one, you won't die if you eat it. I can't say that about the Subway. You might die if you eat another Subway sandwich. All right. We, I believe, have unknowingly picked a grand champion barbecue sandwich from fast food. That is the Arby's sandwich. Go to Arby's.com and send them an email and tell them to sponsor the BBQ Central Show. Doug is completely against that, but that's fine. All right, so you guys hang out here just for 1 second, as we have gone way long here. But that was well worth it. And we did it. We finally did it. We reviewed your fast food briskets. All right, let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. These are some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. There's 2 different lines to choose from. You have a classic line, which is what I have. Detective Corey has a classic line Green Mountain Grill. His brother has a classic line Green Mountain Grill as well. You also have a prime line of cookers, built on a little bit more of a robust chassis, peek-in windows on both the cooking chamber and the pellet hopper. 2 internal meat probes instead of 1 that you'll get on the classic line, both pellet-driven. They have pellets right there at Green Mountain Grills if you want. They also have a bunch of other accessories that are really cool. Now, if you want something to take on tailgates or camping, look at the Davy Crockett 12-volt technology right there. So if you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, you can go ahead and work it through the 12-volt outlet in your car, or adapter, whatever you want to call it. GreenMountainGrills.com is the place to go. Don't forget, if you have the Jim Bowie or the Daniel Boone, you can rip the guts out and get that pizza oven insert. And now it's a pizza party. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. We are back with more embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by the Smoke Sheet. Keeps you in the know on everything happening in the barbecue world, including top news, events, recipes, and more. Started by Ryan Cooper and Sean Ludwig, and both of them travel around the country to find the best barbecue news and then report on it. You can sign up for the newsletter to see full events and results on their barbecue calendar at bbqnewsletter.com, a great all-in-one resource covering the live fire industry. As we rejoin our mates here for the embedded correspondence, Steve Ray, John Solberg, Doug Scheiding, and David Huff. Tennessee, Michigan, Texas, and Oklahoma, respectively. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and continue our embedded correspondence talk. Did anybody have anything to add on the fast food brisket sandwiches? Has anybody seen any new brisket sandwiches coming out that we need to try? Anybody? No?
It's not a sandwich, but I believe firmly that the Taco Bueno brisket tacos are the best fast food brisket out there. They're delicious.
Is that the name of the restaurant, Taco Bueno?
Yep. Don't have those up in Cleveland?
No, but I do know that means good taco in Espanol. Thank you. I am bilingual to a degree. All right, the next topic up for discussion is a term that seems to get thrown around like crazy anymore. It didn't really happen even 10 years ago when we were kind of getting this ball rolling in the BBQ Central Show. But now anywhere you go, sponsored this, sponsored that, I'm sponsored. They sponsored this for me, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what the hell that word means anymore because, quite frankly, I think I'm sponsored to a certain degree. And I'm wondering if there isn't a exact definition or if we can all surmise one, and we can then float it out to the consuming social media public tomorrow in hopes that we get them on the right track. So, Doug, you're a marketing guy to a certain degree, engineer, of course, smart guy. What do you think about this whole what is sponsored and sponsorship, and what does it mean to you?
The lines have become blurred. To me, I consider that I have both. To me, a sponsor or sponsorship is more like when you're an ambassador. It's a loose arrangement. You're getting free product. You probably have a few things. They're providing you things. You're tagging them. You're doing that. I'm liking it to social media. To me, the word sponsored means a little more from the standpoint of there's expectations in written format on both sides, and it's a contract. You're signed up as an agent. So you have obligations, they have obligations to you. They probably pay you money. They probably provide grills. They provide, sauces, rubs, whatever, along with cash. Cash and prizes like the World Food Championships. But anyway, I think so. Sponsorship is more of an ambassador. Sponsored is more of a written obligation between the two parties.
All right, Steve, your thoughts?
Exactly like what Doug said, and I made a list. A sponsorship is the most overused word in our sport. Most of them are helpers. And here's the difference. A sponsorship gives you money to enter the contest. A helper gives you a bottle of rub. So if you're getting a bottle of rub, you've got a helper. You don't have a sponsor. A sponsor insures the trailer for you. A helper gives you a bag of charcoal and a sticker for your trailer. A sponsor buys you cook shirts with product patches. A helper gives you a patch for your cook shirt. Sponsor pays you to show up and cook. Helper shows you where to park. Sponsors provide cleanup crews. Helpers are your teammates and or your kids. Most of the people are like what Doug said. I had the same word, ambassadors. It kills me. It absolutely kills me when we go to one of these little local yokel contests that we do, and Johnny Local Yokel comes out and says, well, my sponsor wanted me to come to this contest. Give me a break. He wanted you to show up in Ottawa? What did your sponsor want you to come to Ottawa, to Cambridge Square in front of literally tens of people and come in fifth in a 9-person contest? Are you kidding me? He wants you to do that? It's out of hand. If you're paying to enter the contest, in golf, when you enter a PGA tournament, you know how much it costs a golfer?
Zero.
$400 is entry fee on the PGA Tour. You think Tiger Woods has to pay that money? No. Nike's got the check already there. You think Bubba Watson's paying? No, he's not paying. Somebody else is paying for him. That's what sponsors do. They pay for you as you go. Now, if Tiger Woods is one, 453rd on the money list, he may get $50 from Titleist in a sleeve of golf balls. He's got a helper. He doesn't have a sponsor. There's a big difference. People calling themselves saying we're sponsored. They're being helped. They're not being sponsored.
John, your thoughts?
Gotta agree with a lot of my two other ECs have mentioned. A sponsorship is, Dale Earnhardt Jr. It is Tiger Woods. It is like someone comes to them and goes, hey, we will give you money to put our name on your car or on your golf jersey or whatever you golfers wear. It's an agreement between two parties with an exchange of something. I do believe that something could be product, but a true sponsored person is looking for money. Rod Gray said years ago, getting sauce and rub will not put gas in the truck. So there's this fine line. Brand ambassador, that's another conversation. Take that right off the table. If someone sends me grill pens and makes me a brand ambassador, that means nothing. So sponsorship to me is some form of monetary exchange for some goods and services or appearances by the other party and getting exposure to that product.
David Huff?
I definitely agree that the line is blurred. Influencer, brand ambassador, sponsorship. I don't know that there's anything that distinguishes one from the other. I think you could say I'm sponsored by Bounty Paper Towels if they give you all the paper towels you need for your cooking contest. Or you could be sponsored by Snake River Farms if they give you briskets to cook and you don't have to buy them. But I also think you could be sponsored if somebody says, hey, I will pay you to go to 10 events, wear my name on your shirt, and doesn't matter where you place, just show up and be in front of the people and say that I am Huff Daddy Barbecue and I use such and such product. So the line, it is blurred. If you're asking to make something distinguished, I agree with what the guy said. Maybe the cash value could separate the difference. But as far as how it exists right now, it's all the same. It's all just, different words for the same meaning. I somehow give you something of value. John, to your point, you were talking about the guy with pellet envy, right? From the earlier podcast where he talked about sponsorships. It might not give me gas in my truck, but if I don't have to pay for the items that they provided, that essentially allows me to have that money for the gas. So it's all a wash in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I happen to agree here in a lot of respects. I think there is a lot of blurriness. I think that it makes a lot of people feel good, or if they have generated some kind of, and I think a lot of this tends to happen on social media because that's where you see a lot of it. And the ethical folks, whether they get stuff for free or not, are using the proper hashtags or saying this is an ad right up front and not trying to pass it off as something that it's not. But it's making people feel really good about themselves. They have a couple thousand followers, and Cheerwine has sent them a 6-pack of Cheerwine, whatever the hell that is. And they pour a glass of it in a video, and they say, oh, and I'm sponsored by Cheerwine because they sent me a 6-pack of this stuff, or you name it. It's free. To me, the bottom freaking line is cash dollar bills. Is somebody giving me money? Now, I will say that, when you get into the bigger donated items, Snake River Farm briskets or Hassel Cattle briskets, or, whatever you want to say, that's a little bit different. But there's a lot of ancillary crap that doesn't really amount to anything. And the other thing to me, aside from the cash, is commitment. With everybody that is on my show, we have an agreement. We will pay me to represent you. I will execute these items. You will go on my website. You will get this link on this page. You will get this link on that page. You will get this link on this newsletter. I will read for you 2 minutes and 45 seconds during the course of the show, or up to a minute as we come in from a break leading into an interview, depending on what. And these are the amounts, and we agree that you're going to pay me to do that. You are finding the value, and that's what I commit to. I can't commit to making people go to your website and buying your stuff, because if I could, I would be really rich and people would be paying for way more than they're paying for right now to advertise on the show. But I commit to you that I will do A, B, C, D, and E, and I can guarantee you that I will do these, and in exchange, you're going to pay me for that. And that's what I think the biggest difference is. It's not getting a can of rub or a bag of charcoal. I mean, that's not sponsored. That's bullshit. Getting cash, somebody believing you, somebody approaching you and saying, we believe in you so much, or we like your brand so much, we're going to give you money to do this. To me, that's what separates the men from the boys, if you will. And there you go. So anybody have a rebuttal to that, or want to follow up on anything?
Yeah, I was curious. Maybe he would tell you, Jack Arnold.
Yeah.
Someone who's definitely an influencer, lots of followers. He has Big Green Egg he always uses, Snake River Farms meat that he's always cooking. He's got, I believe it's truffle hot sauce that he always puts on a lot of his meat, and he's got a Yeti cooler that he always dumps his stuff out of.
Don't miss the most important thing. The Breitlinger watch that's always getting thrown on in the videos too, everybody. Miss that? Oh, that's a sexy bitch.
I would just wonder, is all of that a, hey, we'll give you a free product? Or, is any of that paid on top of that? Not that he would reveal it, but he would be a great guy to ask because, to my knowledge, he's strictly doing social media, correct?
I think he has a day job, but I think he's just doing social media otherwise.
But no competitions, no World Food Championship, stuff like that.
No, he doesn't do that, but he does a lot of cooking classes. I mean, you see him on tour everywhere giving Big Green, but it's always, as you said, it's always those brands that he is in front of. So to me, I would go out on a limb and say that probably some of those are paying him, and that's why he's only using those things. So, I mean, it's hard to, show up with it. John, you disagreeing?
Yeah, a couple of those mentioned names ain't giving anybody any money, but they're giving out a lot of product.
I agree with that. So what I'm saying is I think some are paying, and I know some are probably donating those for exposure, because I agree with you, John. There some of those, especially one, is not a believer in spending any fucking money, no matter what. So, yeah. All right.
Real quick, Greg, real quick. You know who the perfect example of a truly sponsored person with Doug, all the things that you said, the agreements, I'll do this in exchange for this money, is Dr. Barbecue. He is your poster child for sponsorship. He doesn't work. He goes to big green egg festivals. He has a restaurant that he goes to that he's hooked up with. He is probably the best example of somebody that has turned a career into a money-making career being sponsored by a corporation like Big Green Egg.
I think a better example is Jess Pryles. I think that companies pay her. I think she would much rather be paid. I don't know if she does take stuff. Maybe she does, actually, if you go through some social media stuff. But I think by and large, she's a spokesperson for a small handful of companies that pay her, and that's how she makes the majority of her money. And then she has merch and all this other stuff through her online store, book sales and whatnot. But I think she's a spokesperson, if you will. So, Doug?
I think Danielle is the person. Danielle is sponsored, is an agent for Traeger. She does a lot. She's taught 3,000 people. She's now a woman of Duluth, etc. I think Danielle is the current best example.
Yeah. John, your thoughts?
I think Dr. Barbecue and Danielle are contractors. I don't think they're sponsored for anything. They're contractors and they get paid a fee, and that's what they are. They're not sponsored. Dr. Barbecue is not sponsored to go cook and get out in front of people. He gets paid. He's a contractor. There is a difference there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Sorry,
but still, he's getting paid to do what he loves, and that's sort of a sponsorship.
All right,
Greg,
John,
was that your anniversary mixtape that just played there?
You're damn right. We're going to hear it here in just a second. John, so give me your best example of sponsored right now. Who's sponsored
today in the world?
Yes.
Today in the world of barbecue.
Yes.
I can't give you an example. Rod Gray is the guy from the day. Is he still sponsored? I don't know. I don't even know where Rod Gray is today. But if someone is getting all their meat from Snake River Farms, I would call them sponsored.
All right.
Yeah. There are some big teams. I think there's those big players. They are sponsored if they're getting a large compensation like meat. That is a large compensated item that you don't have to spend, and that money, if you're not having to spend $175 on a brisket, you can put that in your gas tank. Then we're talking cash. If you're talking $7 bottle of rub, give me a break.
Yeah.
No, that's barter. That's barter.
Yes.
Cash is cash.
Yes. Cash is cash. This for that is barter. No doubt about it. All right. So here's what we've learned. We've decided that this is a murky subject, and it is still really murky. Still really murky. But we tried our best, gang, so that's all I can ask. We have Steve Ray from Ottawa, Tennessee, John Solberg from the state up north. We have Doug Scheiding, the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, and there's David Huff right there in Oklahoma, bottom right. Guys, we have done it. We have done another embedded correspondent segment, and we will see you guys towards the end of November. Oh, my God. Away we go. Get your turkey recipes, guys. I'm telling you right now, we're going to need them. That's a weird look for me right there. I got to get out of that one. I got to get out of that look. Holy moly. All right, as I said, in the end, I don't know what we were able to discern, define, or regulate, but it was fun to try and put a pencil on it. We have nothing to disseminate to social media tomorrow and going forward, but maybe we'll revisit again. Or maybe now they're just, words that are being thrown out there anymore. Who knows? The Subway and Arby's recap was tremendous. And the World Foods was better than I thought. We're back to wrap up the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to the guys for hanging with me through the embedded correspondents, Steve, David, Doug, and John. And we get ready to wrap it up here. Would love your thoughts if you want to email me or shoot me a note here while you're doing YouTube or on the Facebook on what you think sponsorship is and what it means to you, and sponsored or influencer or whatever it is these days. I'd love to get your insight on that as well. Share it next show. Let's get out all the way back in the first hour. Jackie Milligan talked about her time at the World Food Championships this past weekend, won the Eat Barbecue side of things, came in third on the IBCA, won the Firewomen's Challenge down there as well. How about that? Then we talked with Max Good about the new Kalamazoo Kamado style cooker. And in the second hour, we had the embedded correspondence, why we talked about World Food again. We talked about the Arby's and Subway brisket sandwich reviews, and ultimately there was a majority rule on the Arby's sandwich being the better of the two, by a landslide, I might add. And then we ended it by talking about sponsorship and being sponsored and what it means. Big show planned for you next week. The brand new CEO of the KCBS is in, Emily Detweiler, amongst many others. September 11th, 2001, I will never forget, a special birthday wish to my wife, Becky Rempe. And we'll see you shortly. September 11th, 2001, I will never forget, as I had mentioned. Until I see you next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.